boss, right? Welcome to this show today. In our studio, we have Dr. Anjum Saba. She is a keynote speaker, an educator, is a coach, and the founder of Conscience Connections. I love that. So, Dr. Anjum Saba, can you tell us a little about yourself as you welcome our audience today to She Speaks Success Community?
Definitely, Joy. It's a pleasure to be here. So good to spend this time and this stage with you. Hi, everyone. As Joy rightly introduced me, I'm a self-discovery conscious parenting coach, and I'm also a keynote speaker, wife to a wonderful, supportive husband, and mother to a 12-year-old boy. So, journey for me from being a dentist to an educator, and now to being a conscious coach, self-discovery coach, has truly been a roller coaster ride. Most of us choose our careers based on our parents' interests, right? So I did the same because my mom wanted me to be a doctor, and I graduated as a dentist. But after working under a reputed maxillofacial surgeon, I realized that I did not belong to this field. So I was quick to shift my gears, and I started my preschool in the year 2011. But universe has its own way to align things for us, and it did the same to me during the pandemic. Sitting back at home because the schools got shut, doing nothing, it really drove me crazy. I didn't know how to sit back at home doing nothing because all those years I was so occupied with the business of the world. So as I was sitting back home with no income coming in, anxiety grew day by day. And that started reflecting on my relationships. And the worst hit was my relationship with my son. As mothers can relate to this, most often our easiest targets are our kids, where we can take out all our frustrations, right? We dump it all on them. So it did happen the same with me. And I think I can say very fortunately, my son is a very strong-headed boy. He does not take things that easily. And so he always used to stand for himself. I, being a very obedient parent, obedient daughter to my parents, it looked very different to me when my son stood strong for his terms, right? So that's where the journey of conscious parenting began to me. And I wanted to see what parenting is all about. And I got into Dr. Shifali's Conscious Coaching Institute. I was very reluctant because I did not know how that would help me build the relationship that I was looking forward with my son. I took the leap of faith. I moved into the institute, got myself enrolled, and looking back, I can say that it was the best decision of my life because this course changed my complete perspective about life and relationships. It taught me a very profound lesson. To change what we see on the outside, we need to connect with who we are on the inside to have more meaningful and stronger relationships, not just with our loved ones, but with our own self. So here I am trying to put my word out, trying to spread this message that it is very imperative, very important for us to connect with our true self so that we can have a more meaningful, fulfilled, and a purposeful life for ourselves and also for our loved ones.
Hmm, I love it. Oh my God. What a wonderful journey. And as a mom, I can really relate, you saying that about us taking our frustration on our children. Yes, when we're not actually doing what, gives us joy. So I love that. Oh my God. So I read about, I've taken some time and I read about you. And the best part I loved about, everything you're doing right now is that you are, encouraging people to change their story, because when they do, they will design their destiny. So, and that is the part I really wanted you today to share with our audience who are listening right now to actually get how did you get to that place where you realize that changing your story, helped you, which is why you want to help many to to design your destiny.
Absolutely, Joy. Well, as I said, this journey for me started during the pandemic, where I really started to look into what really matters to me. What is it that I really need to work so that I can have a better relationship with my son, right? So when I began onto this journey, I have learned and explored a lot of things. As children, as Dr. Gabamate very passionately explains that as children, we have two basic needs. One is attachment and one is authenticity. So as children, we trade our authenticity for our attachment so that we are loved, we are cared, and we are adored by our parents, our caregivers, our society, our teachers, our friends, anybody with whom we are involved. So as we do this, we trade our authenticity and try to fit ourselves into the molds because we are trying to adapt to the vast world around us. We give up on our true self. And while we do this, we start wearing a lot of masks to please others, to be loved, to make sure that we belong to this place, right? So while all of this is happening, there are a lot of stories that get built around us. And we start believing this is who we truly are as we grow into adults. Our personalities become our true self.
Mm,
And that's why it's so important to change those stories which have just been conditioned and programmed to us.
mm,
That's not who we truly are. We really need to dig a little more deeper and reflect to understand who we are on the inside because this true self is not lost. It's very much there inside of you. We just need to rediscover it by building that connection with ourselves. And when we start changing the stories which have been conditioned and programmed, which have made us believe this is who we are, we start designing and becoming the directors of our destinies.
mm, mm. This is good. Oh my God. I've been working in this information base since January and listening
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of people, which trust me, you are one of them that have really blowed my mind this morning with just the wisdom that coming, from your end. Number one, you're a doctor. And now from you being a professional doctor to now being a professional coach who help people, if you ask me, manage their mind, manage their stories, manage what, like rebrand themselves from who they thought they are or they still believing, oh, this is who I am, but it's a story that they're actually building on. So my next question to you as a doctor is when did you, get that? When was that turning point? Like that time that you just know that you just didn't want to be that daughter alone just to please your parents. It's true. You needed to go on this journey with your son. But when was that particular moment that you're like, no, I'm not doing it just the way they want me to do it because that's not truly my story. I'm going to dig into this one and I'm going to take people along with me and you turn from that, professional doctor to now a professional coach.
Well, as I was working under a reputed maxillofacial surgeon, I always had the spark to do more. Okay, that spark really did not settle down inside of me. And since I was working under this surgeon, I did not have many opportunities to work on my own. I had to, we literally had to sit and wait for patients to walking in and then do something about it. So I thought, what is it that I can do wherein, like, I'm constantly involved so that this spark does not die inside of me. And, our nervous system responds in a very meticulous way. And my parents are educators for good 35 years now. And I have grown seeing them being educators. So very instinctively, I thought I could be an educator. And I very quickly stepped into their shoes and I started my preschool without realizing if that was something that I really wanted to do, if that really drove my passion. Okay, so it was like, fight and a flight reaction, and I just bumped into it and I started my preschool. And I was quite successful at it because we had about 1,000 plus students graduating by 2020. So year on year, we had about 100 plus students. And I felt quite successful at it. But it was only during the pandemic that I realized that I was successful, but I was not satisfied. So
Mm.
this spark inside of me really did not die down by being an educator. So there was always something that I was in search for. So while I was also an educator, I always had this zeal and enthusiasm to become a speaker, to speak, to see how best I could spread the knowledge that I was gaining as an educator. I used to see parents coming and complaining about their children, and I wanted to really do something about it. So I think pandemic was truly a blessing in disguise for me because it really paved a path for me to explore. And as I said, universe has its own way to align things for me. It did put me on the right path and it helped me to move forward. It gave me a direction. Probably as being a dentist, I could have only healed people on the physical level, but I am glad now being a coach, I can help and heal people not just on the physical level, but also on the spiritual level by touching upon their souls. So I think it's truly a blessing.
I love it. I love it. So, somebody watching or listening might be asking, doctor, can you give us like one or two testimonies, in your journey as a coach? Because now you have you're passionate over helping people, not just with a medical side, but in their mind, which to me is the greatest gift you can give to our society today because of so many things that have been, spoken out there over people. So, somebody like, okay, I've heard all you said. Can you give us one or two testimonies of some clients that you work with that actually made a shift in their life with your system and your strategy?
Absolutely. I have this teenager with whom I am working presently. And as we all know, we are pressurized to conform to the societal expectations. And especially in our country, where academics plays a huge role and everybody's worth depends upon the academic achievements they hold for themselves. So this teenage girl with whom I'm working presently was a very uh, was achieving very well at her academics. It so happened that certain situations and certain experience turned it down in a way where she started having anxiety and panic attacks, and she was not able to perform to the level she was performing. So the expectations of her parents and the school turned it in a very different way and pulled her down completely. So because she used to have this anxiety and panic attacks, this girl stopped going and giving her exams altogether. Right? So the pain of not achieving those marks was so much that she thought it is better for her not to go and give the exam.
Mm.
So she completely lost confidence that she was holding in herself. She did not believe anymore in the capabilities and the abilities that she had. So once I started working, once I started building the confidence in her, started helping her to understand the patterns and the triggers which pull her down that pathway, she started performing better. Now she is so prepared that she is very bravely going and giving her board exams without the fear of she losing or without the fear of she not getting those marks or those grades as per the expectations.
Mm.
So that's one thing that I'm truly proud and I'm happy that I was able to spark that confidence and I was able to help her go and give those exams in a very confident way, not not being fearful of the not meeting the expectations of the parents, or not being fearful of how she can face the society which expects a certain performance out of her.
I love that. I love that. Oh my God. So, and that will bring me to that parents that is watching right now that maybe have that type of issue with their daughters or their sons. And they're like, okay, but doc, you're not in my city, you're not in my country. How do I do it? Do you work with people virtually? Do you have online
Yes.
access to you? And
Yes.
also being somebody in the um what I call educational sector right now, what is your advice to a lot of parents who are having difficult children? You go with that first. Advise my mommies, especially us, because it's us that most time 80% pay attention to our children performance and all that, and also tell us how they can reach out to you. Like, are you virtual? What is your process to help them? Do you have a consultational call, or whoa, how did they kind of like reach you for the help that they will need?
Yeah. Definitely, Joy. Presently, they can DM me and they can get connected with me on my Facebook, and I will be very quick to respond to them. And we can get on a discovery call to understand what is the challenge that they are facing right now in their life, and what is it that they are expecting. Because some parenting issues are different and personal development issues are different. So that's why I work with mompreneurs, so that I can cater to both the categories. As mothers, it is one thing that I can tell to every parent out there is connect with your children.
Mm,
That's the best way for you to establish that bond, right? So connect with them. And for you to connect with them, for you to know how to connect with them, you need to first connect with yourself.
mm,
As Dr. Shifali very rightly says, we need to raise ourselves first before raising our children. So
mm,
we need to raise our consciousness, our awareness, because as parents, we carry a lot of baggage from our childhood. There's a lot of emotional baggage that we hold on to ourselves. And we not try to project, but we unconsciously project all of this onto our children, and we expect them to fulfill our whims and fantasies which we are holding from our childhood, forgetting that they are their own individual personality.
mm. I love
And
that.
that's where everything falls apart. So it's important to first establish a connection with our children. And once we are able to do that, and once we are successful in establishing that connection, everything will start falling in place. Definitely, things are not going to happen overnight. It's a process in itself, because it has taken good 20, 30, 40 years of your life, the way your brain has got wired. And for that wiring to change, and for that wiring to, act differently, it takes time. So we need to hold a lot of patience and understand how this rewiring works, because brain is plastic. There's so much of research done on neuroplasticity, and every now and then the brain has the ability to change. It's plastic in nature. So we definitely hold the power to rewire our brain, build new neural connections, leaving behind the old patterns which don't serve us, letting go of all the limiting beliefs, so that we not just can serve ourselves on a better level, we can also be available to our children in the most authentic way, and accept our children in the most authentic way.
Hmm. Love it. Oh my God. You just keep blowing my mind like the whole entire day with this. And this is huge. It's something that, parents need to really, pay attention. I love how you said it, connect with them. But before you connect with them, connect with yourself. Like raise yourself first before you start raising another. That was really powerful. And that is going to take me to the next question before we finish today. And that question would be, do you help people who want to be like you who want to do what you're doing? Like, do you help people become coach in, your field and teach them how to work with other parents? Is there any opening like that? Like somebody listening or watching, like, okay, I want to do what Dr. Angie is doing. I just don't want to, yes, I'm not a parent, but I want to help parents. I have the passion. Do you work with people like that?
Yes, absolutely. But as because I have structured a program, it's going to be a 12-week program. And this in these 12 weeks, we look into every aspect of ourselves. The first month is going to be self-reflection because that's most important. To know who we truly are, we need to understand who we are not. So we need to understand our thought patterns. We need to understand our belief systems. We need to understand what's really holding us back to be who we truly are. So there's a lot of self reflection, introspection, and we need to give some time to understand our thoughts, our emotions, and dig a little deeper into ourselves to get an idea of who we truly are. And from there, we move on to the space of self discovery, understanding what are our values, what are our strengths, what is that we can turn into our, probably it could be a hobby or anything, but it can actually bring a lot of meaning to your life. Because as Oprah Winfrey rightly says, most often we are not who we are meant to be because we are trying to fulfill somebody else's idea. So it's important to understand what brings meaning to your life, what is your true passion and purpose. So that's where self-discovery comes into picture. And then when we move on to self-mastery. So we really need to master ourselves. We got to be mindful. We got to understand how things really work. We need to set some healthy boundaries because we cannot let everybody walk over us, right? We cannot be all the time people pleasing, so we need to set some healthy boundaries where we master our true self. So this is a process that I take my clients through. And moving forward, once we have worked on all of these aspects, then probably there will be a possibility for them to become coach and then help others because they have an understanding of who they are, because it's not a theoretical knowledge but it's an experience in itself. You really need to go through this experience for you to be able to help others.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. So you can't say you don't have the opportunity to do what Dr. Anjum is doing right now. So, do you have a website that people can opt in? Do you have any free training that you give people before they get to know you? That will be the next step so that everybody listening can connect with you and have you, thinking about how they're gonna do what? Change their story.
Actually, my website is building. I'm still in the process of building my website. So that's happening side by side. But as I said, Joy, anybody who would love to connect with me, as of now, it's my Facebook account. So please DM, please reach out to me. We can get on a call. We can just see how best we can help each other, because there's so much that I'm going to learn from my clients and there's so much they are going to learn from me. So it's a hand in hand process. And it's going to be a beautiful journey that I can assure them, because there will be so many interventions, there will be so many aha moments, which we don't really realize. And it is about discovering that power, that potential you hold inside of you. And when you start realizing that what an amazing person you are, is a very different feeling. So it's going to be a very beautiful journey. So please reach out to me, DM me. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Exactly. Who better to learn from than a doctor in profession, a coach, a great coach, a mom, a wife. I tell people, I said, if you can really be a wife, you can really coach in many areas because, you I'm telling you, you've mastered patience, you've mastered, endurance, you've mastered perseverance. There's just so much, so
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's been a pleasure to, so much fun to have you here today. And I'm so looking forward for so many women, especially that you're going to be helping on their journey to the top. So once again, I want to say to everyone who tuned in today, thank you so much for joining us here at She Speaks Success. Guys, am I not right? Dr. Anjum Speaks Success. Oh my God. So you want to go to the top, please connect with her on Facebook, just as her name is Anjum Saba. Once you type it, she pop up and she add you once you want to add her and message her. She's one of the fastest responding doctors I've ever known. She has so blown my mind today. As a professional doctor, she's really down to earth. And I love what she's doing in our generation to help you who is listening and who is watching to become the best version of yourself going forward. So we want to say thank you for joining us again, Dr. Anjum. And that is going to bring me to the last thing for you. If there's anything you want to tell the mommies out there, the daddies as well, all the parents, the educators, the teachers who are teaching our children right now in school, the businesswoman who is struggling to find herself, or the person who want to go into the industry of coaching and still, confused what to do. What are you going to tell to all our communities right now? What led you from where you were to where you were going, because I know you're still going. And what is that power, sentence? What is that wisdom that you're gonna share with our audience to conclude everything that you said today?
Well, as women, we always have been told to prioritize others' needs, to be there for others, to make sure that our husbands get what they need, to make sure that our children's needs and wants and desires are met, to make sure that our in laws, our parents, our sisters, brothers, everybody is taken care. Nobody has ever told us to take care of ourselves, right? We are never there on our priority list. Everything else and everybody else is there on our priority list except for ourselves. So that's one message I really want to give out to every woman out there. Please take care of yourself. Self care is the most sacred thing you could do to yourself. As Susie Lula says, self care is not selfish.
Mm.
So when you can take care of yourself, you can do 100 times more than what you have been able to do. So when you are able to fill your cup, only then will you be able to fill somebody else's cup. So when you run dry on the inside, you will never really be able to do much on the outside. So please take some time out for yourself and do things that you would love to do, that would bring joy to you, that would bring meaning to your life. So self care is something that I want to leave out today to everybody who is listening to me. I know things get difficult. I know time goes crazy. There's so much on our hands. There's so much on our platters. We don't really have time. But think about it. When you can take time for others, can't you take time for yourself? Can't you spare 5 minutes for your own self? If you don't have time for yourself, then you're not living a life, right? So that's the message that I really want to give everybody out here.
What a power message. Oh my God. Women, did you hear that? Take care of yourself. If you don't have 5 minutes for yourself, then it sounds like, what are you living for?
Exactly.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I really, it was such, once again, I'm going to say that it was such a pleasure having you today, Doc. And you made our day, you made mine as a mom. I relate with everything you just said, like, yes, come on, bring it, so, ladies, on a normal, my audience are ladies. I love you guys. And having this winning women, I call them accomplished, people who have really gone ahead of us, who really make our journey easier. So here in She Speaks Success, it's been a pleasure hosting the doctor today, and also looking forward for more people who are going to be blessing us here so that we can just, think about ourselves differently so that we can give from a filled cup. That's what the doctor said. Be yourself first, then you can give. If you're empty, you can give nothing. So I just want to let you, say thank you to our audience and just, love them.
Thank you so much, Joy. It's pleasure to be here. Thank you for helping me spread this word. I'm sure it's going to reach so many women out there, and uh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. She speaks success. Truly, we all hold that power inside of us to be and to live the life we dream and desire for. We definitely hold that power. So let's unleash it.
Amen. Let's unleash it. And we say with that, bye bye, everyone. And see you guys on the top. Doctor said, let's unleash it. So let's go. Bye bye.